Speed.
Alright, so here we are, after the video of kind of explaining what parts and stuff like that is on the car, what the car is, and this is where I'm currently at. This is the end of February, and we're just getting out of a cold spell, so, and a busy spell too, so haven't had a lot of time to work on it, but I have the heater hose solution for this car, because you can obviously see the stock heater core location would run right into the back of the engine and intake, so I had to move that out. I have to support it yet because there's a lot of movement with vibration. I'm suspecting that will not be a good time, and I don't want to even attempt trying to figure out how to change a heater core on this car, because you have to be about 3'6" to get under the dash and work with anything under there. And from anything I found, it's not a good time changing that heater core. So I got the heater core lines. I will make one other note: a 1/2 inch copper to 5/8 heater hose, a 3/4 PEX will work for 5/8 hose because it's .675 or 650. I can't remember, but it fits really nicely. So that was a nice solution for that. So the heater hoses now go into, I believe it's the cold side. That's called, oh, focus, cold side of the water pump. So the big port, get my fat fingers in there, the port there, which usually came from the coolant reservoir down to the engine, as well as the return from the heater core. I have that plumbed now right here, and that'll clear the belt. It's nice and tucked away, and you can still get at the bolts nicely. And then the hot side of the pump, I have drilled and tapped 3/8 to 5/8 barb right there, because maybe this is a better shot. You can't, there's no way you can do that. So those I can pull out and drill and tap for plugs. We will do that at an opportune time if this pump is good. I don't know if the pump is good, and we'll find that out when we put water to it, but I have some pumps laying around. Accessory drive, I have belts and a pulley. Ignore the tensioner. That is just a denial and error sort of situation there. And I think I got everything to make this whole truck accessory drive turn 90 to work, to clear the hood and everything. I've test fitted the hood with the intake on, everything clears. So I'm pretty happy about that, other than a whole lot of wiring all messed up and needing to be cleaned up. I'm trying to think of the stuff I have to modify for wiring yet. I have to wire the IAT sensor, which is in the intake manifold over here. Let's just take a segue here. Here's the IAT plug in the intake manifold. A really shoddy job at plugging off that, whatever it was. I don't know. You guys can tell me what it is. I got the intake bare, so I don't know what it was. And so I got to wire that in. I have to wire in the pressure transducer for the fuel system, so I can measure that on the AC pressure signal. And I'm wrong about that, on the oil pressure. That's where I'm going to log that on, because it's easier to set up. And the wideband on the AC pressure sensor, or the EGR. You can do that. It takes some math, but it works. And then once that's done, I can finish up the engine wiring, which is all the nice colored wires. And the red wire is alternator, and that leg is just for the car stuff. Here's the alternator, and then this other red wire goes down to the starter, which gives the power to, I guess that block gives the power. I do have to put a fusible link in there. You can see there's no fusible link right now, and that's a no-no, so I have to do that yet. There's a lot of little bits and pieces that I have to work at, and doing a terrible job of focusing on one thing. Squirrel-minded all over here. And other than that, it's pretty much that's kind of like the hard stuff. It needs to come back out, and I need to do some engine, like a cam and valve springs yet. And this side motor mount, when I was underneath looking at the steering arm, which I have to modify as well, because it still doesn't clear the pan, even with the low clearance pan that I got welded and fixed up there. It doesn't clear, but I have a plan for that. And there is an engine mount brace that I welded in that I have to move and change, because that's also in the way. But otherwise, the hood, I don't know if I said, the hood does fit on here. With everything in here, it all fits, and it closes, and it's like stock. So there's a lot of other work to do, suspension, blah blah. We'll get to that once this thing's running. Let's see, charge pipes. I was going to talk about that quick. This is all in the way for the connecting there to there. I have a somewhat of a solution, but I have to figure out where the compressor outlet's going to go. Maybe it would have been really nice if I would have thought about it a little bit more and had the compressor the other way, but that's hindsight. We'll work around that. So the charge pipe is going to come out here, run along the top of the sway bar, punch through somewhere over there, come in to the intercooler, which is, you saw in the video, underneath there, come out, come up amongst here somewhere, and go into the intake. So that should all work, but the downside, I have no way to weld aluminum. So I'm either going to build a tool to put a bead on the end of the pipes and just cut and join them with rubber, which I don't want to do, but I'm kind of stuck. my hands are tied, or that'll be one of the last things we do and figure out a solution for that. I am going to run a coolant overflow tank so that I can fill the system, because the rad will be underneath a plate that covers here, so there's no way I can fill the rad cap, as well as it is lower than the engine, so it will not work. So I'll put a coolant reservoir up in here somewhere and feed it down, or maybe in that corner since it's closer to the heater pipes, maybe I don't know. That's a more figuring out, but that's it. See, we're at 7 minutes here. Maybe rambled a little bit, but this is kind of where I am on the car.